Have you ever felt like your entire existence was perfectly mapped out? Like your marriage was an unshakable fortress, built on vows you believed were carved in granite? I was in that place once. I thought my wife and I were indestructible, our bond a sacred promise, nothing to fracture. But life has a cruel way of dismantling your certainties, exposing truths you never saw coming, and shaking the very foundation of your world. It all began with something deceptively small. She asked for a break, a little room to breathe. She said she needed distance from our marriage. Just distance. I can still picture the moment she spoke those words, her voice gentle yet resolute, her eyes searching mine as if seeking the perfect phrasing. Confusion and hurt surged within me, but I buried those emotions because my love for her was unwavering. I assured her I understood, that she could take all the time she needed. I wanted to be the steadfast partner she could always count on, even if it meant stepping aside. I convinced myself it was merely a temporary hurdle, the kind every couple faces, perhaps work, family pressures, or the grind of everyday life had overwhelmed her. I never suspected it was the start of a nightmare I couldn't escape. The first week without her felt surreal. Our bed was cold, hollow without her presence. I kept reaching out, texts, calls, small gestures of connection, but her responses were curt, detached. I told myself to stay patient. She just needed time. But as days stretched into weeks, the silence grew oppressive. No calls, no visits, no explanations, just a gaping void where our shared life once thrived. I found myself trapped in a cycle, endlessly replaying our final conversations, scouring them for hints of what went wrong. Had I fallen short? Had I let her down in some unforgivable way? I sought advice from friends, threw myself into work, but nothing could fill the chasm she left behind. After a month, the truth began to crystallize. This wasn't just a pause. It was a profound separation. Even then, a flicker of hope lingered within me. I kept whispering to myself that she'd return, that our love could mend what distance had torn apart. 2 months crept by and I stopped marking the days. My phone screen stayed dark, a silent testament to her absence. I tried to carry on as if life were normal, but every moment felt like a pale imitation of what we'd had. The things we once shared, laughter, quiet conversations, dreams of the future, were replaced by heavy silence and a barrage of unanswered questions. Then, after 3 months, she reappeared. I was at home when her knock echoed through the door. My pulse quickened as I opened it. She stood there, weary in both body and spirit, carrying a weight I couldn't yet comprehend. For a fleeting moment, I dared to hope she'd come to fight for us, to reclaim what we'd lost. But when she spoke, her words struck like a sledgehammer. She was pregnant, not with my child. During our time apart, she had had a fleeting encounter with another man, and he was the father. The life growing within her wasn't ours. I sat frozen, the room spinning as her confession sank in. How do you even begin to process such a betrayal? How do you reconcile the fact that the woman you trusted, the one you built a life with, could wound you so deeply? The pain was a raw, unrelenting force. A torrent of emotions engulfed me. Betrayal, rage, sorrow, disbelief, and a heartbreak so visceral I thought it might never fade. She tried to explain, her voice trembling. She spoke of loneliness, confusion, and feeling adrift. She swore it was a mistake, a lapse in judgment, that she never meant to cause me pain. She pleaded for forgiveness, for a shred of understanding. But my heart was in pieces, and my mind screamed that no explanation could mend this. Our home, once a sanctuary, now felt alien. The dreams we'd woven together, the plans we'd made, the future we'd envisioned, it all crumbled to ash in my hands. The trust one had placed in her was shattered beyond repair. I couldn't see her the same way anymore. I grappled with an impossible choice. A part of me yearned to forgive, to cling to fragments of what we'd had, to salvage something from the wreckage. But the wound was too deep, the betrayal too profound. I knew I had to protect myself, my heart, my dignity, my future. So, I made the most agonizing decision of my life. I filed for divorce. But I didn't stop there. I also pursued legal action against her for her infidelity. I couldn't let her walk away unscathed. Not after what she'd done to the life we built together. The legal battle was grueling, emotionally shattering, and physically exhausting. Lawyers, court dates, and endless paperwork consumed me. Felt like waging a war I'd never enlisted in. Friends and family offered support, but no one could fully grasp the storm of heartbreak and fury raging within me. Each court appearance, each argument dragged the pain of her betrayal back to the surface. Yet I held firm. I refused to let this define me or dictate the rest of my life. Through the anguish and fight, I began to rebuild. I focused on healing, on rediscovering who I was outside the confines of that marriage. It was far from easy. There were nights when loneliness felt like a suffocating weight. Moments when I questioned whether I could ever trust again. But step by step, I carved the path forward. This ordeal taught me the most brutal lessons about love and trust. Sometimes love alone isn't enough. Sometimes space isn't a pause. It's a prelude to something far more devastating. And sometimes the person you thought you knew better than anyone can become a stranger. But I also discovered resilience, the strength to walk away, to fight for myself, and to begin anew. If you're reading this and navigating a similar storm, know that your pain is real and your emotions are valid. But you hold the power to shape your own story, to guard your heart, and to forge a new path forward. Thank you for taking the time to read my journey. If you face betrayal or heartbreak, I'd love to hear your thoughts. You're not alone in this struggle. And if you'd like to explore more stories of people confronting real pain and finding hope, stay tuned for more.